Alright, tell me when you guys have the stream open and we can go ahead and get started.
Yeah, there it is. All right, you're good.
Alright, so tonight we have a very special guest with us. Want to introduce yourself?
Hey, it's me, everyone. It's the guy who made this. It's that guy.
So, right off the bat, we're going to get started with the Vault Nightmare Gate, which the color mechanic in the Vault, I think, is the kind of mechanic I've always associated with distorted Travesty as a whole. Because, it was used a lot in DT1, and did you kind of, what did you take into account when reusing it here in DT3, Zephyr?
Visibility. That was the big thing that's probably my biggest complaint about it, was not knowing what you're supposed to be, because you always had to have one of those little spinny guys in the screen, which is where it got the whole color wheel name from.
Right.
So that was a thing. I think one of the problems with the way I've executed color wheels in every single game is that the color zones are these weird specific small spots, and instead it should be much, much bigger. It shouldn't be dictating you have to be here at this specific time. It should be a little more
Ran out of dash energy. That's new.
oh wow.
Very graceful death.
Yeah. Oh god.
There is a couple times where I wondered why the color zones weren't just like all the way to like the top of the screen or something. Like, because there's a couple times in the vault where Jerry moving makes his hitbox lower, so he ducks under a color zone and dies because of it.
Oh,
Yeah, that's trash.
Yeah, I believe that's happened to me a couple of times. Oh,
This is the map. So I told Wafu, I don't know if Mugi saw it earlier.
yeah.
I told Wafu earlier that what is it? So Nightmare stealthily gives you some things in the skill tree, and this is the map that made it so you get, I think it's like level 1 or 2 dash. I'd have to check the code. I don't remember if it's level 1 or 2 in the dash though. But you have that.
Yeah,
Like through the whole game.
the timing is a little bit tight, but I'm figuring out. And I'm guessing I want to use Claire for the first part here, since she has the wider hitbox and all.
So the colored zones, they shouldn't be doing that. They should be using the character sprite. So I noticed you guys said a slight incorrection
Oh, yeah?
there in the first one. I'm not fully caught up yet.
Right. If we say anything wrong, just feel free to correct us whenever.
Oh no, that's okay. It's fine. It's a lot of that has to do with, some of that can have to do with the game not explaining it right too. So Jerry and Claire actually have identical hitboxes.
Oh, do they?
Yes. What it means, because I'm bad at explaining things sometimes apparently, is that Jerry has a small hitbox while he's running, because he ducks down.
Oh,
But other than that, their hitboxes are almost are basically identical. It doesn't use their sprite. I'll post a screenshot in the chat for everyone to see. Their hitboxes are pretty small, actually, comparatively. They're like sticks.
yeah, that's something I actually
Interesting.
never realized throughout the entire game. I mean, like, I figured out Jerry's hitbox, obviously, because you pretty much need that to do some of the platforming, especially near the end of the game. But
Yeah.
I always kind of thought Claire had the bigger hitbox.
So before the update, there were a couple hitbox inconsistencies
Mhm.
that I fixed up. I was looking through how the game was aligning the hitbox on certain things, and it was off a little bit. Like, we're talking like 1 or 2 pixels, but it was enough to screw things over. And we found that when we were actually testing the executive fight.
Huh.
I see.
Like, you would do things like you change animations, and suddenly you would get hit, and I'm thinking, wait, that shouldn't be happening.
That's interesting. So there's actually on that. So there's a thing with doing the goal time of connect where you hit the wand on the top. That is much, much, much harder to do as Claire than it is as Jerry. And I always assumed that was because Claire's hitbox involved more of her feet. But I guess not, so I'm curious why that is now.
That really weirds me out. So I'm gonna go look at the code for that, for how the game handles that, because that weirds me out every time I see that. And so the Mario hitbox thing is different. So there's two hitboxes. There's of course the hitbox there's the hurt box for the player. Then there's an invisible thing that I use for calculating for them not going through walls and all that. So that's separate. And then the Mario thing has kind of its own thing going on there. I wanted that separate from the hitboxes.
So basically, they have like an invisible collision for use for ledges and stuff, and then the actual hitbox is what you're saying.
Yeah.
Okay.
Basically, yeah. It's a little bigger than the character. That's why, and that's also so you can't like go against a wall and then touch a spike that might be connecting with it. I've had that issue before. No, they're the same. I don't know what's going on. That is a really weird phenomenon. That might be due to the way we look at the sprite.
Yeah, it might actually.
But it feels different.
Yeah, it might actually be like just a complete visual illusion. I don't know. Oh, and speaking of the update changes, how exactly did you change the parry?
So the way parry was done before is the attack actually had to connect with your character's hitbox and the really small hitbox.
Right.
So now what it does is there's an invisible box that appears for the number of frames that you have parry. So it takes into consideration the gold thing. And this hitbox actually expands outside of your character. So you can actually connect. This is both Claire and Jerry have this now.
Huh.
Yeah, so you can parry early now. And this is something that's actually in pretty much any game with a parry mechanic. If you can parry early, you should always be able to parry before the attack actually connects. I know I've noticed it in Breath of the Wild has it for everything. Dark Souls has it. Any game with that, most of them do anyway, if they're coded properly. So DT was not done right at first.
Yeah, I've noticed that during the executive, you can actually hit the bullets with Jerry real early before you think you'd be able to. So yeah, that's a nice bit of leniency.
And there's an interesting leniency. So the game tells you that the red bullets, of course, are undashable bullets there. So there is depending on there is a 2-frame, at least if you're blocking, there's a 2-frame leniency there where the bullets straight up don't deal damage to you. So if you dash into a series of red bullets and there's a blue bullet in there, the game will count that as a hit as long as you parry when your hitbox actually touches that.
I've actually noticed that a couple times on Phase 3 especially.
Yes. So, length of thing, there's what Jerry's hitbox is, and Claire's is exactly the same size, if you look at those pixels there. And when Jerry runs, it's hilarious because so Jerry's hitbox changes a bit when he runs. It's about one of the biggest inconsistencies there now. But that's why like certain things will go under his feet.
Right. Because obviously during the final approach to War Master, that's really useful to get on the conveyor belts.
Yeah.
And with the whole avoidance bit in Executive 2, it's pretty useful. Oh god. So we're kind of having some trouble with the Nightmare Vault, but it's okay. I made it
This map here is the one that gives me the most trouble.
Yeah.
Like the next one, not as bad for me anyway.
I kind of
this one.
Go ahead. I kind of consider this the speedrun gate, so to speak, because you're on a very strict cycles in the entire thing, and there's pretty much not any room for error, especially when we're playing on. See, I got hit once and it was basically over.
Yeah. So you can make things a little easier for yourself. I'll spoil this.
Yeah.
When you jump up to the green one from the Yoshi platform, the Yoshi bouncer, just go to the right and just arc yourself into that. Don't try to dash into that thing. You'll wind up screwing yourself over most of the time.
Oh, okay. Keep hesitating at the first blue one, and that's proving bad.
I thought that these last two, especially in this in the Vault Nightmare Gate, are really fun because it's basically like auto scrolling, but the agency to scroll is on you instead. So it's pretty fun to actually do.
It's
yeah,
it's an improvement from DT1, I'll say.
Basically what I was about to say. It's definitely an improvement there. So the color wheel thing comes from a game I made before DT. No one will ever see this game. Some people have it still. It's the most trash game ever. I made it in, oh my god. I made it in RPG Maker, and it is.
RPG Maker.
Anybody ever use that piece of software? Yeah, it's a cool piece of software. It does really good at it's really good at what it's set out to do. It doesn't do action games too well, but I somehow, but they come from that game.
Yeah, I actually cannot think of like an analog for these in any other game I've played, so that's why I said I basically associate with the distorted. Oh my god.
Oh, for sure. Oh, jeez.
That was the tragedy. This is giving you some trouble, Boogie.
It's okay. We'll figure it out. And by figure it out, I mean I'll eventually do it properly.
Like Nightmare mode needs or the game needs a restart thing like the boss room does.
Yeah, that's one thing I know Kevin was really asking for.
I got so spoiled from the boss gallery reset thing that playing the game normally is mind games me so hard. I just press select and nothing happens.
Yeah, during the normal game, I don't want it overlapping with things like skip key and all that.
Oh, that reminds me. I've noticed there are a few cutscenes you actually cannot skip. What is up with that? Is there like any rhyme or reason to that?
It's a couple technical things. I could make them do that. It was during development. What do I want to spend time on? Do I want to make sure this doesn't break? Or do I want to keep making other things?
Right, I figured it was something to do with like flags being set in cutscenes or whatever.
Yeah, and I'm just going to call it straight up laziness when it comes to that. I mean, that's really what it is when it comes down to.
I find it hard to call you distinctly lazy when you made this massive monster of a game, but
lazy by his standards.
This game was not supposed to be as long as it was. I was like, like DT1 took like 12 to 18 hours-ish, depending on things, maybe 12. I was like, this game will be a little longer, maybe 20 at the most, maybe 25 if they get everything. So when I ran through the whole, like I had everything done, and I ran through the whole game, and I did 100%, and I wasn't like rushing or anything, but it took me 35 hours, and I'm thinking, oh no, what did I do? It's just
how did this go to 70? I'm curious.
I don't know. Because it took me 35 hours doing 100%, and I thought, oh no, and I know where everything is, and I wasn't rushing, but I'm not gonna mess up like everyone else does. They're gonna try to figure things out, and I'm thinking, oh man, how long is this game?
Yeah, it took me 55 hours my first time through, and that's a fairly short time from the looks of it. Like the highest I've seen is 90 hours, and I'm gonna say like the average time seems to be 60 to 80.
60 to 80, yeah, that's the usual report that I get. And that is just insanity to me.
Because I mean,
and then people stick with it.
Yeah, like we've said, basically you play the entire game. There aren't really long, elaborate cutscenes or anything, and no QTEs and what have you. And it's just a lot of gameplay for this incredibly long experience. And I'm gonna make it through this room, I swear, one of these days.
You will do it. You will do it.
There's one QT, but there's a couple, mash buttons.
Yeah, the mash buttons. How did you come up with the idea for that? Is it actually meant to riff on QTEs or what?
It kind of is.
Yeah.
It is more of like this will be a cool thing for these two characters to do at the end of any or most bosses that they're both a part of.
The first time it showed up, I laughed pretty hard, I have to say.
Yeah, basically. This is what I figured. Did you play the first one, Mugi? I think you did.
Yeah, I did.
Okay. I've seen your. My first time I ever saw your anything on the game was what was that video you had on DT2? Like you said something about DT2 is a terrible game.
Oh yeah,
and I agree with you. It is.
I was not really a fan of DT2, so it took a while to convince me that DT3 is worth playing. Like it took me a while to get to the point in Roundhouse LP. I was like, wait a second, this actually looks pretty good. Because DT1, DT1 looks it goes too far with a lot of things, and DT2 I just didn't really enjoy at all.
Yeah, DT1 falls too much after BlackRock. It just kind of doesn't handle itself well. And even before that, like before BlackRock, a lot of the levels are really uninteresting. Oh, you almost had that one.
Did.
You had it flawless. And I just absolutely hate Windy Slopes. It's like everything Windy Slopes and anything inside of it, including Distortion 3, is the worst thing ever. It's cancer now.
And there's also, Shroud Lord.
Yeah. Or just Shrouds in general.
Oh my god, that was so close.
Oh, that was super close.
Why?
There's a lot of people that hate the Shrouds showing up. I've threatened them with, the Shrouds are going to show up in DT3, but they never do, of course.
Well, you get the fake out at the end of Final Nightmare. Okay, I need to actually jump on top of that smiley, I think.
Yeah, it's also easier because the bottom of Jerry's sword is what immediately happens.
Yeah.
So it's easier to do the thing from that, yeah. Do the thing, yeah. That's really descriptive.
Easier to hit the smiley.
So I'm curious, Zephyr, what made you because I know that there's a bit of an old story about how you kind of regret that you made a boss that you couldn't beat on the hardest difficulty in DT1, and did this change or is this what influenced the change in that you had to beat everything in DT3 to be able to release it?
Oh, yeah. Like there's a rule I think that's kind of trash. If the developer can't do what he's wanting the player to do, that's really silly.
Okay, I beat that map. It was not flawless, but we'll take it.
We did it. The spaghetti is over.
No, I don't think it's over quite yet. We're
This second map or this third map is sometimes madness.
See, the thing on Nightmare is that I can't really afford to tank much, so see, I die in 2 hits if I happen to mess up the. Oh, you just kind of stand in the middle of
The spaghetti.
I've actually enjoyed watching the Nightmare playthrough because it's a lot more different in approach than I originally thought it was going to be. Because like a boss like Blackmore, for example, the intent is obviously for it to get more claustrophobic as it goes on, and I think it works out and it's generally pretty fun. But it gets really dire in the Nightmare run because you don't have Holy Water Flame to murder him with, so your DPS is just dramatically lower.
Yeah,
it's true.
So far, I found the boss I had the most different experience with to be El Piso, actually. There's no real reason to get up close with him on normal mode, because his HP pretty much just melts. But here, I found myself, Zephyr hasn't seen the video yet, but I found myself basically having to melee him with Mega Man stuff. And it's a pretty interesting fight, actually. I was kind of just devising new strats as I played it.
That boss has an interesting history of development, and in that he was terrible up until about 2 months before the game released. He was not what he was.
Oh, well, what did he used to be then?
I mean, he was like that, but he didn't have the whole... So the mechanic where he puts down the fields and he gains energy, and then if he does, he has that super mode for a moment. He didn't have any of that, but he did a lot of weird things with attacks where he just hung around at the top a lot. You've seen him do that now, but it used to be way, way worse, and his attacks were... he was just uninteresting, the way he worked.
Right.
So that is kind of like the one thing that gets kind of bullshit with El Piso, I want to say, is that sometimes he just likes to chill at the top and spam shields, and you're just like, I'll just go fuck myself, I guess.
Basically.
One thing I was wondering is that, is El Piso reactive like War Master is? Reactive to your play?
Yes. So when he goes at the top, if you hang out the bottom, he's just going to stay up there and spam.
Okay,
he'll never leave.
That pretty much makes sense with the experience I was getting. So you actually do need to chase him up there to get him to teleport down. Then.
Yeah, the problem with that though is that he puts those shields down. I don't think that's good. Like in hindsight, that's too much.
Yeah, I saw a few attempts where he basically did nothing but sit up at the top for a bit, kind of putting up shields, and then he just kind of fucked off down to the bottom again.
Right, and if the player had air dash by that point, or even double jump, that would be okay because the player has a lot more mobility. But at that point, they have none of that.
Yeah, the most reliable way I found to deal with him up top was actually dashing off of out of the wall cling state, because that gives you kind of a pseudo air dash, you could say.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, it does.
I think if I were to edit anything about El Piso, I'd just say that he can't put 2 shields on. I'd just say 1 is the cap. Because the annoying thing is less that he hangs up on top and more that he just protects himself with 2 and then another one, then replaces the other one, and then you just sit there feeling bad about yourself. Yeah,
basically. And those platforms are so small that you really can't get up there to do anything.
But it's kind of one of those things that just kind of happens with a boss that reacts very dynamically. And it's if it happens, it happens. But for the most part, it's a rare enough occurrence that I kind of forgive it.
Kill me next time.
You guys don't have the update, but there is a small update with Wex.
Yeah.
Oh, you got crushed by the spike and the platform. I was about to say that can happen, and then I'm glad it happened already, or there.
Learning new things.
Yeah. It's interesting. DT1 and 2 did not have a crush mechanic at all. I didn't add it into this until Gate 4. I was like, oh man, I need crush mechanics. This is why in DT1, when you had platforms that would move and I didn't want the player to be sitting in there, why they had spikes in them. If you ever noticed that in DT1, that's why I just never coded crush mechanics. I'm like, okay, I need to do this. So Wex has this thing, and War Master has it too, but it's not so bad on War Master. It's not as noticeable. And that when he's in wind form, there is a rotation you can get of him where he'll just spam tornadoes over and over again.
I have had that happen to me.
And that's not the worst thing. You can punish him, but it's just I'd rather that not happen. And so I count the uppercut because the uppercut goes into a tornado every time, depending on the one he's doing, and then the tornado. I count those as one thing as far as it categorizing this. Is that if he's about to do it a third time, he just won't do that a third time. He's gonna do something else, based on 2 metrics.
Okay, now we're on the really fast room. This is again the reason I call this kind of the speedrun area. Let's check out this sign if we can. I'm not sure we can. Okay, we can.
You're gonna get the other sign in a moment.
Thank you, Jerry. It's much appreciated.
Yeah, there it is.
This is, you think Jerry would not want to die anymore if you've been struggling, but he just kind of dick moves you pretty hard.
Oh, one thing we were wondering about is how old are the characters in DT supposed to be?
I always imagine them around 25, 26. That's how I imagine them anyway.
Okay, that matches with my conception. Kevin said he imagined them as teenagers, but for me that doesn't really make sense with the chronology of the games they play and all.
Yeah, it didn't make sense to me. Or that doesn't make sense to me. This right here is basically impossible on 2x mode.
Oh, 2x. So you've actually done runs of 2x mode, huh?
No, I've just played around in certain areas of it. I was looking at that and it's just impossible. I gave myself 80,000 health and I could not get myself out of there. You get hit and then you just get double hit and then so when the game's running twice as fast, of course you get hit. The hit stun, by the time you get out of the hit stun, you try to press the button again, you just can't do it and you get stuck under the platform. It's amazing.
Yeah,
that's a tragedy.
It's this is to me the most interesting map on that run. I'll see how far I can get with that. I'll do it on stream sometime. It'll be a fun thing.
So yeah, that's actually one kind of quirk about this game in particular, is that you have very short damage iframes, as it were. You can just get comboed really easily. I'm not sure it's necessarily a bad thing, it's just something you kind of have to get used to. Oh, wow, I didn't jump on the platform, that would have helped.
It's one of those things, because sometimes I wonder if, like, tanking things is a little too easy to do sometimes in this game. I just kind of thought, but, like, the stuff like the damage iframes being small kind of goes a long way. Kind of referred to, like, damage tanking as row cowing.
Yeah.
Row cowing. I've heard that, so apparently he heard that there was an update of the game, and I've heard that he would be interested in playing it if he didn't have to replay the game again. I don't know if that's true, though. I haven't been to the Hawk House.
He posted that on Tumblr, yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah, we actually ended up giving him details about what exactly the update contains, or well, that he wouldn't have to replay the game to get it, so the ball is in his court if he wants to, show off the rest of the game.
Oh. Nice. I don't imagine him trying to go after the extra bosses, even if he was told how to do that. Doesn't seem like a rock kind of thing.
Even if he somehow grinded past Executive, I think if he saw Wex for 2 seconds, he'd quit.
Yeah.
Yeah, he'd be like, nope.
I do think Raquel could beat the Executive if he put his mind to it, but there's no way he'd get past Wex ever.
Double kill.
Oh shit.
I don't expect most people who play this game to ever, even if they get to Wex, I expect like maybe 1% of people will ever beat Wex, to be honest. He's just that hard, as far as like in comparison to the rest of the game and difficulty.
Yeah, he is super hard.
Getting a gold time on War Master is significantly easier than beating Wex. I like to call War Master Junior now, because that's what he is compared to Wex.
Like, I'd even say Achilles War Master Vanilla is easier than Wex, honestly.
Have you actually done an Achilles War Master?
I have.
Oh.
Yeah, no damage in War Master is not a huge deal if you know what's going on. It's really weird, so... Like, of course, we all played War Master, and we were just like, oh my god, this is the hardest thing ever.
Yeah.
But then you go and fight Wex, and you go back to War Master, and you realize how slow he is, like, by comparison.
It's exactly what I said, yeah.
Yeah, you go to him, and you're just like, okay, dude, are you going to do anything at all?
Yeah, one of the reasons I feel more confident about actually finishing this playthrough is that I have Wex to practice on, basically.
I say don't do a jump.
Yeah, the full jump is making you get hit by the second tick.
Yeah, that, and sometimes the fireball too.
I love Wex in general. He's like, I think, one of my favorite like character action type bosses in any game I've ever played. I think he's probably too hardcore for most people, I think, but I love stuff like that exists. So
yeah, and there's a reason why those guys are hidden behind some weird technical thing.
I think Executive is not that bad once you actually figure out what you're supposed to do to every phase, but it takes quite a while to actually reach that point. Like, when I first started fighting him and saw how many health bars, I was like, oh my god, am I ever going to beat this? And I really appreciate the bit at the end, especially.
Oh, where his health goes into the negatives.
Yeah. I appreciate the sprite you use for Executive.
Yeah.
that killed me. I just died laughing.
Yeah.
So that came about because so many people made fun of that boss. They're like, oh, that was the easiest boss ever. And I was like, oh yeah.
He got his revenge, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Well, I assumed you kind of made the original, I'll say, intentionally kind of a joke boss. It's kind of how it felt, anyway.
Oh, for sure. And then, of course, I think I've told the Wex story before.
Yeah.
I just love how you guys didn't see is that while the testers were playing it on stream, and they're just losing, they're just getting their face smashed. They're like, yeah, this could be harder. And I'm like, okay, full Zephyr Unleashed mode then. Like,
the thing that you can say is you're the only one who beat pre-nerfed Wex at the very least.
Oh yeah.
So the problem with this map is that it continues past the smileys.
Yeah.
That last part.
Oh, so there's one thing I want to ask. So the Hexer fight at the end of Sword Travesty 21. How long did it take to make Hexer?
Oh, because of like the multiple mechanics happening.
The genre bending to the maximum. Yeah.
Yeah. Longer than I would have liked to have taken. It took a few weeks to do that. And I was gonna add more. Yeah, I was gonna add more like fighting game mechanics to it. Obviously, that's where it's pulling from.
Right.
But it was just the Hadouken.
I wish that was more observed. I didn't know it existed.
Yeah.
And I kind of wish it was a way to like know about it because that's hilarious.
I actually found the Hadouken by mistake. I was just kind of like mashing randomly and it happened to go off. I was like, oh, cool.
Yeah, I didn't want to like say anything about it because I wanted the player to suddenly go, oh my god, that's a thing I can do. Because I figured once they figure out that, oh, I'm playing a fighting game-ish thing, maybe they'll try that. That's like the natural thing.
Yeah.
At least my headcanon anyway of what I imagine players doing. Not always does that work.
Alright, so...
I'm curious. The bouncing thing at the end of Hexer. Is that inspired off of Pilgana or is that inspired off of Zelda?
That is definitely Zelda.
Okay.
Yeah. I had never actually done that in the series, and I thought, well, let's try that. The one thing that bothers me about the Zelda tennis ball match is that it's not hard to do. Like, nothing ever happens. Like, the first time we saw that, I think it was Link to the Past, and then we saw it with Ocarina of Time with Ganondorf at the end. You just kind of do that, and nothing really gets in the way of you doing that. There's nothing to, like, dodge around or anything. You just do it, and it's like that every game.
I actually like the implementation here a lot. It's fairly simple in terms of like concept with just the aimed things coming at you from off screen, but it actually ends up making it pretty dynamic, I have to say.
Yeah, those little aim things. There used to be one on the very last phase. It was at the floor, and it would come so often. Like, it was like every other one, it would just come over there, and I'm thinking, this gets in the way of what's happening. It was so hard to manage that.
Also, the second fight in the DLC, especially, was something that we mentioned as a joke, like in passing a lot of times.
Oh, yeah.
You're like, he should do this. It'd be hilarious, and then you did it, and it was like, what? The Zephyr, please.
That's amazing.
Yeah, I believe I actually mentioned that exact mechanic during one of Kefit's streams in the chat. It's like, oh my god, I can't believe you did this.
So there's a totally easy mode way of doing that. You know, the thin yellow one at the very end with the maces.
Oh yeah?
Yeah, you want to know what to do?
Sure.
Or at least the way I do it. Dash dance with Jerry, and you just get all the iframes added up.
That works.
That's literally how I do it every time. I'm like, oh, okay. I mean, you can jump through. I tried it without that. I was like, well, make sure, because not everyone's going to think dash dancing. But yeah, that's easy mode way of doing it. Or the cool man's way. You want to be the cool man, don't you?
Yes, of course I want to be the cool
Okay,
man.
good. Yeah.
Oh shit.
So do you two know each other in the real world?
No.
I've known Mugi for like 4 or 5 years now, I think, something like that. But no, I live in Canada. He lives in
Memphis.
fucking the south.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was wondering if you guys had met at some point or okay. Because you guys have a really nifty dynamic going with your streams, and I've noticed, and I'm like, man, these guys know each other really, really well. You guys throw like little soft, fun jabs at each other, and that's usually the sign of like good friendship there.
Oh, I'm glad to hear it. Oh shit. Okay, I got really messed up.
I'll spare you as many friendship is magic jokes as I can.
So what was the inspiration for that achievement, exactly?
Which one?
The My Little Pony.
Just making a random reference to ponies. Because it was everywhere for a long time. I mean, like, I had seen the show too, like, it was just all over the place, and I was like, okay, well, we'll make a random reference to this pop culture thing.
My favorite like little random thing is Mr. Saturn's balloon. It made me laugh. It is my favorite thing.
That's pretty great.
Oh yeah. Is there like some sort of story behind that, or is it just another random thing?
Just another random thing. He initially didn't do that. The very initial release of DT3 did not have that, and then that was by suggestion. They were like, shouldn't the Saturn do anything? He popped the balloon. I'm like, yes, he should.
And do something he does.
Yeah. So that's how that happened.
Oh, so on the stream, Mugi has been dropping all the spaghetti.
Yeah.
On this last screen.
This screen took me a long time, my first time through the game, and it's not really any different with more experience or anything, because this is, again, pretty much a unique mechanic to this gate.
Yeah. I decided to keep myself constrained and say, no, color wheels are vault only. I know they weren't a very loved mechanic. I like them conceptually. I don't like their execution in a lot of ways. So I was like, well, I'm going to try them again, but I'm just going to confine them to one thing. And I'm like, oh, how great would that be to be in the middle of the game and then freak people out and think, oh god, it's going to be in...
Alright.
It's going to be in the rest of the game.
We've reached the boss. I'm going to take a bathroom break, and then we'll see how he goes. Hopefully he goes well, because I don't remember this being a hard boss.
You know, which reminds me on a boss difficulty for Nightmare. Nightmare himself in the Metroid Nightmare Gate is... Oh god, there's too many things named Nightmare. But...
So many things. They say that.
The Nightmare boss is actually, I think, going to be pretty hard on this difficulty mode.
You can't have plasma canister, you can't have railgun.
And, like, the thing with Nightmare is that, like, in the original game, he only has, like, 2 or 3 attacks, and the most dangerous is him running at you really fast. And, but, like, he doesn't have a terrible amount of damage output. Like, his damage numbers are actually pretty generous, it feels like.
Yeah, they are.
So, it's, in comparison to the health you have, Nightmare doesn't feel too bad, but I think he's going to be pretty hard in this mode.
I think so. It'll be a different boss. So that boss used to be harder, like way harder, but then a lot of other buffs came to the player, like really minor buffs here, but they had significant changes for him, and he just never really got updated all that much. And that's really what happened there.
I see. That makes sense. It's just that I was always kind of wondering, because he is threatening in terms of like what he does and how he corners you in some ways, but it never feels like you're actually in full danger of death, because he just doesn't kill you.
Yeah, he doesn't. And the platforms in the room, there used to only be the one on the left and then the one on the right, and then I added more because sometimes you get in these weird scenarios where, hold on.
So I'm back.
Hey there.
Hey.
So,
yeah, you get into these... Oh, go ahead.
One thing I want to say is that I feel the Nightmare Gate bosses are kind of uneven, both in terms of quality and difficulty especially. Like, some of them are really trivial, especially Nightmare himself. And I was kind of wondering if that was, like, something you noticed or what.
Actually just talking about him.
Yeah, we are just talking about that. Yeah, was I saying to them, Nightmare used to be a lot harder comparatively to your power, and then there were really small buffs to the player throughout development, and he never really got updated to reflect those changes.
And I think he's gonna be pretty hard here in this mode, because Nightmare's now a relatively small damage output is going to be pretty severe now, and no railgun and no piercing spacer.
Yep. The only way you can pierce is through charging up. The intention is to use diffusion missile because that splash will get him.
So I'm curious, why does this boss have an AI loop?
It does?
It does. It does have an AI loop. So this guy is purely reactive, again, but it's really easy to loop that AI, just because he does exactly certain actions based on what you're doing. And once you find that loop, of course, it becomes trivial.
I think like I like the concept of the boss, but I think his actions are kind of easy to spot. But and like I think the last rule that you get fighting him is kind of too much. It just kind of feels more like a chore to hit him at that point.
Yeah.
I just kind of wish he was buffed though, because I like it conceptually. I always thought it would be funny if there was like one of the super bosses was going to be like where you just play as Jerry and you have like a spar versus Claire. And it's just this ridiculous like War Master-esque like super fight. I thought it would be awesome.
Jerry and
Right,
Claire
that would be pretty neat.
Jerry and Claire are quite broken themselves. It's just that we're not as good as playing them as War Master is at playing War Master.
Let's see what the messages are there. There's someone asking in there. Because I don't remember. Oh, it's Hex throwing out insults at Jeremy.
That's what I figured it was.
That's just Hex being
Being
him.
Hex.
Yeah, being himself. And there's I mean, even though most people will have figured it out, there's there's a thing in there. One of them. It's not in this background binary, but there's one of the binaries in the vault that literally just tells you that Jeremy is the one that makes the virus. Like it just straight up tells you.
Spoilers.
That's kind of cool.
Did you find the message, by the way, in the vault?
Oh.
Which one?
The one to Kefit.
Oh, we didn't find it on stream, but somebody else got it for us, so we're good.
Yeah.
Okay. It's just that sign up there. I saw Kefit go up there, and he's like, "Oh, there's nothing up here." So I was like, "Well, I'm gonna make a sign that says something about that."
I thought that your sign that you were gonna put up Kefit was gonna be on the abomination climb that told them to stand on the arms.
No, I thought about that though at one point.
Slowly but surely.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he'll win.
Yeah, this guy's pretty easy.
I did tell that Thwomp in front of Calculatus Castle, he's now called the Sad Thwomp. Or no, he's now the Useless Thwomp. Because you guys said something like, he's like so sad and useless, so I call him the Useless Thwomp now. Just stand up.
I'm glad we contributed something to the game's canon.
My personal thing is that my reward for being the first one to get all the gold times is being named the Abomination. That's my legacy in video games, though.
There you go.
Oh, okay, I was already using just normal anyway. Oh shit. So I'm actually.
It was just such a silly thing when you and Kefit were going back and forth with that, or just Kefit was calling it that, so. And it was something that you had said to Wafu, and then I thought, well, some dumb, stupid code. It'll be fun.
So what's messing me up on here is actually the low dash recovery rate. Again, that's proving like probably the biggest change on Nightmare so far.
So I actually discovered something on my recent destruction of War Master that I didn't actually know, which is something really sad, and I'm amazed that I didn't actually recognize it. Hitting things with damage actually increases your dash energy.
Oh, yeah.
I had no idea until I did, speedrun number 400 million of War Master. And only because I was actually running, because let me tell you, doing Jerry dashing on P3 Melee is, oh boy. it's, And I was actually running completely low on dash energy, but I noticed that I actually refilled it if I got like a good Claire juice Juice Wave on his Fire Super going into it.
Nice.
Yeah, I would just call it Juice.
Oh, that works. Oh man, I saw that video of you doing the dashing the sword dance to him, and I thought, yay, somebody does it. I'd never seen anyone else do it. I was like, is the developer the only one who sword dances this guy? Because that's by design what you should be doing.
Yeah, we all kind of figured that out after Wafu kind of discovered it for us. It's not as hard to do as it looks. It looks really cool.
Yeah, it's really not.
It's really intimidating looking. It actually took me a while to figure out that you can do 14 sword strikes on War Master before he phase changes.
Yeah, Frozen, the dash recovery on dealing anything above 0 damage is in every DT game.
That's...
It's not as visible in the other two because you don't have that meter that progressively tells you how close you are to your next point.
I see. I would actually play DT1 if only to see the origins, if there was in-game dash, like gamepad support. Because emulators just don't get along. They never work for me.
Yeah, I don't know if I went back and added it or not. Actually, I can look at that right now. Anytime I watch streams, I always have the project open, just in case there's like a bug right in front of me. I can just fix right away. Like the project file just has to be open if I'm seeing streams. Let's see here. Is there a controller thing for DT1? Nope.
Sadness.
Definitely not there. Oh, my voice broke. That must be the second puberty happening to me.
Okay, so I Achilles that eventually. As you said, you can pretty easily loop in. It's not that bad.
And then we get cheese.
Yeah, we
Tons of cheese.
I think we have every type of cheese except the game power cheese now. I really like the fact that you actually put in different types of cheese for every item.
I mean, it's just purely a cosmetic change in the menu, but yeah, I figured people would appreciate that.
So I'm curious, have you seen a single save file with 100% cheese completion?
No, it doesn't, and it even doesn't do it. It doesn't do anything either.
Not even an achievement?
No, it was just disappointing.
You actually cannot get all achievements on Nightmare mode because.
Yeah, you can't.
I know there's at least one you have to collect coins to get, and is there an achievement now for getting all golds? I'm not sure.
There is. Yeah. It's look at the last page. It's there.
That's what I thought it was. Yeah, I don't think that's possible on Nightmare so much.
I don't think so either.
I mean, if nothing else, I kind of have my doubts that Wex is possible to even on Nightmare. So yeah.
So you have probably because. So I don't know if you guys noticed, but on Wex you have increased dash recovery, and that's outside of the game mode that you're playing.
Right.
I noticed. It's hard to miss.
It actually it mentions it in one of the scans, doesn't it?
I think. Oh, it does. Yeah.
It does. Yeah.
The main format does.
Hooray for cheese! So now we can finally go to the opposite side of the central city, which is locked up until now. And this is.
Did you get the chicken achievement?
Yeah, I got the achievement for pissing off the chicken, but I'm not gonna get the sit there for like 30 minutes getting the achievement for killing one. I actually did that on my other file. It was I would not recommend doing that.
No, it takes forever. It was just kind of there.
And this is the Castlevania 2 Talset, right?
Yes, it is. There is actually an unbeatable enemy in the game somewhere. It was in the update. Which version are you playing right now?
507.
Oh, so okay, yeah, I stealthed him in, and I think in 06. But yeah, there's an unbeatable enemy in the game.
Is it a bird?
It's a bird, yeah. That was your first question.
we know how you work at this point. There are so many birds, and, like if people haven't seen it, keeps track of how many birds I've seen. And like how does that work? Do you actually have like a separate like object for every single bird in the game? They're not just like background elements or anything?
No, they are objects in the world, yeah.
Wow.
And every single time, every one of them just counted up by one. The bird on your head counts every map entry. Every time, if you look in the menu, the first time you see the bird, every time you open the menu, it will count that as +1 bird. Yeah, it's pretty silly.
Why?
Anytime a bird shows up, it has to +1. Storm Eagle, Overdrive Ostrich count as birds.
That's amazing. And one idea I had for Nightmare mode. Have you played Ecclesia, Zephyr?
No, I haven't. I haven't played a lot of the Game Boy ones.
Okay.
Even though I've even though I've stolen their sprites.
Yeah. So in Ecclesia, there's an item called the Death Ring. What it does is it greatly boosts your stats in exchange for making you die in one hit. I think it'd be cool if on Nightmare mode in DT3, the Dark Omen did that. Because as it is, just like taking twice the damage is not really. There's no reason to do that. I think it'd be cool if you could kind of do like a pseudo Achilles in exchange for more damage on Nightmare.
I can see that. Or a new item, since you can't buy them, that increases your damage based on the number of birds you've seen.
I think you'd end up doing quite a bit of damage with that.
Like a scaling really low. There's another +1 bird that no one will ever see. It's when Sephiroth flips you the bird, that counts as 1 as well.
Wow. So we're in the desert now, by the way. And I actually thought the music here was from like Metroid Prime or something, but it appears to be just Newgrounds.
Yeah, it's just a random thing that was like, this is deserty, and a little bit uninspired.
I generally really like that your music choice for each area. I thought that for the most part, I associate all the music that you use with like DT3 now. There's my son, by the way.
Yeah.
It's
That's Wafu Jr. We'll be seeing him a lot until we kill him a bit later. The gimmick here is that if you touch any of the sand, you get eaten by Wafu Jr., the sandworm.
yeah.
This is true.
The floor is lava and made of sand crawlers.
Also, you won't get that +1 bird count on the Sephiroth thing if you skip the cutscene.
Oh, I'll have to make sure to watch
It's it happens like the frame that it's very specific.
So one thing I was kind of expecting there to be an actual dance-off in the update. I was kind of disappointed when there was not. Like when I walked into the optional boss's room and saw Hex with Disco, I was like, oh my god, are we gonna have a dance-off now? But no, we just fought the flame elemental, which to be fair is also pretty good.
That little joke is in there because I threatened the testers with the Sephiroth fight being a DDR minigame. I was like, you're not gonna fight Sephiroth, you're just gonna have a dance off with him, and they're like, no, you wouldn't actually do that. And I was like, I would actually do that, and then it was just.
So my experience with Drakengard fully prepared me for that,
Yeah.
so I'd welcome it.
Alright, so I kind of actually forgot where we're going here, but okay, we're going to downwards, I think. The Konami Code map is around here, I know.
Yes, it is.
The map that just kind of
Okay.
assumes you know the Konami Code, which I think is kind of
Yeah.
great. Oh, and over here we've got more Morph Ball teasing, pretty explicit by now. That's one thing we were talking about, like how you tease us with these little passageways the entire game until we actually get the Morph Ball. So we can basically kind of ignore all the enemies here. Or we can get hit by them too. When I did this my first time, I was pretty meticulous with killing all the stealth bugs, but it turns out you can just pretty much run past them. It's not a big deal.
The stealth bugs are the worst type of aids. They're the time that get in your hair. Nobody likes the stealth bugs.
No, nobody does.
Let's see. Okay, this is the correct place. Okay, guys, I hope you remember the Konami Code because it's we have to enter it indoors here. Can't make that jump.
My favorite thing when watching Let's Plays is when people do this and they figure out what they're supposed to do, they're thinking, wait, what am I going to do with A, B? Like the first thing they ask is, how am I going to hit A and B?
I admit, I actually forgot the Konami code when I first got here, and I had to trial and error this like several times.
Wafu, that's sad. I'm very disappointed in you. So we're coming up on one of the more difficult bosses on a first-time playthrough, I think.
Yeah, he is.
It's a very fun boss, so it seems to be pretty much most people's favorite boss up to this point, and I can't disagree with that. It's a very intense fight. It has my favorite boss battle music in the game too, which I believe is from the Contra DS game.
That guy, the boss theme for him and a lot of other bosses? No, it's not.
Oh, what is it from?
It's actually from Double Dragon Neon.
Oh, Double Dragon.
It's when you fight the tank.
Right, I got it mixed.
Yeah. Yeah, you're good.
And we kind of didn't mention the gimmick here with the water, but you go in the water to replenish your water.
pretty self-explanatory,
Yeah.
really.
And if you run out of water, you die. Oh, and we've unlocked a shortcut here. You pretty much had never actually used these shortcuts, but hey, they're here if you want them.
Yeah. That switch that you hit, that you jumped around and hit, you can totally blow that up with a bomb.
Oh, you can?
Yeah, you can speed run that.
It's funny because we've been theorizing what a DT3 speedrun would actually entail recently, and it's been a lot of like I want to even say theory crafting about like what you'd skip and what you wouldn't, etc., etc. And it's been kind of fun thinking about it.
Yeah, we think it could.
Muga, go get your health back.
Yeah,
Never mind. You're a time traveler.
Yeah, we've been kind of trying to see how long DT3 speedrun would be done optimally. We think we could get it down to like maybe even less than 10 hours, but
I think so.
the thing is you have to play the game for such an incredibly long period of time and be so consistent that entire time that we're not sure it's really feasible to like optimize, let's say, a speedrun of DT3.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see a task run of it.
Of course, a task run would also take like, years to make.
God, yeah.
Alright, so here's Mr. Vault Demon. The strategy for this guy on normal mode is to, DPS, out-DPS and kind of just tank everything, but we're not going to be able to do that here, so I'm just going to kind of see what works, what doesn't work.
So I'm curious, what makes Vault Demon get shot damage vulnerability? Exactly.
It's when he's launching off his. I think it's when he launches his meteors.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah, I think it's during that.
I didn't understand the logistics for a really long time. I just knew that when this point happens, he just becomes weak. So.
Yeah. Okay, yeah, because when he fires off his meteors is when he stops animating. Okay, yeah. And then he has other weaknesses too when his flame is up. So the speed strat on him is weaken the flame, at least if you're on this mode, because you're not going to be able to get him before needing water. Get the flame down and then leave it up until the very end, and then you can do more damage to him.
Oh, what is his other weakness when he's has his flame out? Is he weak to elemental too?
I see. I'll look at him. I got it right here. I don't remember anymore. 60 plus bosses in this game. Alright, Vault Demon, tell us your secrets.
Always helps when you can just look up the boss's stats in the editor like that.
Oh, it's his, let's see. Double check that. So he has, oh, that's right. He has half resist to pierce and normal type. He loses that half resistance.
Oh, I see. Oh, that makes sense. Okay.
I'll double check to make sure. He gains that when the fireball goes away. Let's make sure I'm not just... Yeah. Oh, wow. Okay, yeah. So he... And then, let's see, for the first 60%, or for the first, before you get him down 60%, or at least the first 40% rather, he takes double damage from daggers.
Really?
When the flame is up, yeah.
I see. Oh.
So there you go. Yeah, I don't think that's really useful for
Nightmare.
gold timing, because I think you probably have his HP down lower than
Yeah.
that before that comes up. So
I actually have a video up of me doing him in 30 seconds, which is the
I saw that
fastest
video.
I've seen. I think you can get it down a little, because like there's a thing I found, which is you can actually throw a holy water vial, and it'll hit off the edges and still do damage to him with the flame.
yes, yeah, because you have those. There's barriers on the side of the screen.
I forgot
Even though you actually don't need those.
forgot how few arrows I had for a second there. Wafu knows a thing or two about having few arrows.
Yeah, I saw when you showed that video. I was like, he doesn't even have 100%. What is he doing? What a scrub.
Can we not talk about it anymore?
No, we need to have many discussions about this.
So
You haven't finished tower defense. Let me guess. Is that what it is?
That's definitely one of them. Yes.
that's one thing I wanted to bring
contemplate
up.
putting
The
up-
second to last tower defense is like ridiculous.
The tower one?
Yeah, the bubble tower
Yeah, the
one.
tower defense in a tower. Yeah, it's insane. It's insanity.
It took me longer than War Master, I'm gonna say. Just so you know.
Actually, the final boss.
Yeah.
So since we've been kind of ignoring poor Vault Demon here, I'm just gonna say that I actually really like Vault Demon as a boss, because I think all his projectiles and like ways he hurts you like are telegraphed very well, and gives you tons of information like about where to go and where to stand before you actually get connected. So there's no Vault Demon killed me out of nowhere XD moments that like happen with any visibility issues.
Right. And then there's that happens where he gets lavaed.
Yeah, I got lavaed.
My only thought was, I seem to be a minority in this opinion, but I kind of thought that the water mechanic was kind of not harsh enough in this fight. Is that I just kind of like absentmindedly jumped in it sometimes, and then I didn't really have to think about it much. But,
Yeah, it's kind of there. No, you're not wrong in that.
I've only died from the water like, I don't know, once, and all the times I've attempted him, so yeah. I always forget my gravity wells when I'm doing Mega Man DPS.
Also, that like Vault Demon is like he's got a completely static pattern. He does exact things at exact times, but the way and how frantic and fast paced he is disguises that pretty well, so that you'll take pretty much every attack as its own sort of thing, really. So
Yeah, basically there are two types of bosses in this game, the reactive ones and the static ones. And as much as it doesn't look like it at first, this guy is a static one.
Yeah.
Oh god, I got lavaed again.
Oh wow.
and, it made me sad because Brian seems to not like this guy.
Oh yeah, he doesn't. Yeah, I don't know. Not for everyone. Lava again.
When I fought this guy on my first playthrough, I was pretty much using a lot of clear, but I find Jerry is more or less ideal in every situation against him.
Yeah, so when he brings his flames up, well, at least on Nightmare anyway, you can use Claire's dagger crash
That's true.
ability in this. Like right when he starts coming down, if you have the flame up, you just tear through his HP on this mode.
That dagger special is just amazing, by the way.
Yeah.
It's so actually good.
Yeah, it's
Like it's just
It's yeah.
Oh god, I dashed off the edge. That was probably my worst death ever on this run.
oh, this is gonna be great.
Oh wow. Skillful play there.
Yeah, I had a thought like, what would the dagger like be if it were like on the normal game, and it would be like upwards of like 700 damage or something. So it's a good thing it isn't. So
Yeah, it'd be pretty broken on normal runs.
Oh yeah, you can do a lot of damage when he does that.
oh, that
Yeah.
was delicious.
Yeah, that's pretty great.
And there's the strike chain for good measure.
I gave him the strike chain.
Yeah. The shame chain.
That should do 1 damage.
It should.
I had a fun thought, or I had a fun thought, I should say, because I'm a broken human being, about like trying to just reach in and grab the boss's brain with it, just fatality him. Like, if you finish a boss with it.
Somehow did some sort of sweet back forward dash. One thing I'm noticing is his hitbox is fairly lenient with you dashing through it.
It is. What is this? Look, I think him is his sprite. It is.
That makes sense.
How unexciting. I think it is his fight. Let me check. Or it is his sprite. Let me check, and then it just is his sprite.
It
No
is.
side.
It's just there's nothing else to report there.
No spaghetti, no spaghetti.
No spaghetti.
Okay, this is a spaghetti-less zone.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
Use the fucking gravity well!
That was a pretty nice end there.
Whew. Got the achievement.
Yes! That's...
So, that guy was not as bad as I thought. I actually had a lot more trouble with LP zone. Go figure. I guess we'll go ahead and do some of the Metro Gate. Why not? It's only 5.
Yeah, that's me, the Zephyr guy.
Oh, and this map actually confused me a lot at first because Wafu Jr. does not come up and eat you when you're on this slope, and that kind of makes no sense. It's really arbitrary and isn't communicated to the player anyway. So you should
No, it's not.
I think like if you have the time to make the quick fixes, have like Jeremy pop up and say, hey, you can walk in the sand here. I actually wandered around for a while not discovering that.
Huh.
Oh god. USB shenanigans. And here's the bubble bobbles. The green one is really rude and we don't like him, so we're gonna skip that cutscene.
That's extreme bully.
You guys gotta look at sometime Woody O'Brien's Let's Play of this game, and he does voiceovers for those characters.
No.
Specifically, Bublin is hilarious.
No.
It's really silly.
Let's see, I forgot the actual way to do this. I think it's either Shotgun Ice or Charged Arrows. Yeah, it's Shotgun Ice.
I was about to say, please don't scrub this. Like,
I think on my first time here, I tried to do like a bomb bounce or something, and it didn't work out.
yeah, like everyone does.
Yeah.
And I blame myself because every time I'm like, okay, I want the player to use Shotgun Ice here, they don't do it. And I think there's just I did not communicate. Yo, the ricochet or the shatter is what you should be using.
Yeah. So we got like this huge epic cutscene for X bestowing his powers into Jerry, and Samus just kind of runs into Claire. That's pretty funny.
Just here you go.
Oh, and I can't get this item yet. I wanted to show off the save room item, but I guess we won't. And so we've reached another part of the game where your dash is disabled for a while. That's going to happen again in the RPG gate as well. Oh, while we're here, what's up with the turbo smoothies? They are like, I think they're like completely superfluous personally.
Oh, why are
Yeah, like why are they a thing?
So it's most that right there is just straight up an inside joke.
Oh. I see.
Okay, this is the wrong one. So, it actually apparently took some people quite a while to find the spring ball. It's right over there. You need missiles to get it.
Super close.
It's pretty amazing seeing that just how like I think the Metroid gate in general has a really like nice feeling of progression, and like because you start off as just you can't even dash, or you can't do anything. You have this dinky little like gun, and it's just but by the end you have like the turbo mega, you have all your movement, the turbo mega jump, and like you have full spacer and shit, and it's like it's pretty great feeling.
I kind of like how in lieu of space jump, he just gave us a really high jump in this game. And I will say that this gate does a very good job of recreating like the whole feel of Metroid. And I really like the intro with the Ridley fight as well. It kind of pulls you right into the start. So yeah, I think this gate has probably the strongest intro, let's say, to it. Okay.
Sure. Oh, definitely.
And the screen comment here says that even though one of the testers was not fond of Metroid games, they had to admit this gate was a good recreation. And I think like as far as being a recreation of the original goes, I'm gonna agree that it's the best in the game.
Makes sense.
And here's Mr. Ridley. So first time I was here, I thought you actually had to like fight him for real, and I wasted time doing that.
I think everybody does at first, but
oh god, you're
Yeah, like eventually you're gonna have a rogue bullet touch those beacons, and so yeah, it just happens.
So you're
the best one of this was Kefit not realizing he could shoot up for the longest time and just sitting here for 20 hours, just like.
I love that. I love watching new players on this. It's hilarious to see that.
So I'm noticing that the heat for the I guess let's go ahead and already call it the spacer. The heat for it goes up quite quickly now, so it's gonna be fun to deal with.
Yeah, it's a thing.
Better.
I think I give you level 1 of that in this for Nightmare mode. That's about it.
So there are like actually skills set in Nightmare mode, or what?
Yeah, things that you could unlock in the skill tree. There's a few that are just automatically set. I don't think the skill tree reflects that.
It doesn't. It's just totally.
It doesn't.
Totally empty.
Okay, so it's an invisible buff there. Yeah.
I mean, so generous.
Frozen.
Like so generous, giving us level 1.
Yeah.
Also, I have to say I really like the idea of a morph ball with a focus mode. I always thought that was kind of hilarious. Especially since
Yeah, it's a really weird.
you have
It's a
morph
weird
ball
thing.
bullet hell later.
Yeah, it was put in with the intent that I might be putting in some weird bullet hell things and with the morph ball, so it was with that in mind. It was more of a it may not happen, it might happen, depending on what I decide later on in the game.
And I believe we use that against like Decimator and the Chaotic Spot and Hex, really.
Yeah. Yeah, you'll definitely use it on Hex.
Okay, so please get out of my way, Ridley. It's okay, I'll just walk through you. I'm so glad
Spoilers.
I'm so glad you put checkpoints here, by the way. been very bad if you didn't.
That would have been trash.
So that's another thing we actually talked about during Kevin's LP. Did you ever like actually consider putting a checkpoint after the, big memorization avoidance in Hex? Because that fight kind of gets tedious to replay. When I do like the fight myself, but the intro of it does get old very quickly. So like I know Brian was saying that like one compromise might be to just make that section a lot harder, and then have a checkpoint after it, so you don't ever have to do it again.
Yeah, I've thought about that, and then just taking that out of the boss gallery, a portion of it, or maybe splitting that or something weird.
Right. I think one thing would be cool, like working Jeremy, like hacking against Hex, and like you beat the whole avoidance thing, and Jeremy's like, okay, he won't do that again. It puts an invisible checkpoint there, so when you die, you're expecting you have to do it again. But then no, Hex just immediately goes into his the rest of his fight. I don't know. That's something I kind of That's the idea I kind of had.
Yeah, I could see something like that working just fine.
So we got past Ridley pretty easy, but I actually had some problems with the rest of the Ridley fights. Let's say like 3.5 of them. That's not for a while yet, because Metroid Gate, I'm going to say it's tied with the RPG Gate for longest gate. It took me 4 hours my first time, which is actually how long a Metroid 2 remake, another Metroid 2 remake took me as well. So you pretty much made a full Metroid game here as ever.
Yeah, it actually basically is just a full Metroid game.
Like in terms of amount of rooms, it's I don't think it's as big as an actual Metroid game, but the DT3 difficulty actually like boosts the playtime significantly.
Yeah, it does. The one part of the gate that I don't like is when you go get the what is it? The gravity suit. So you're in You're in the Meridia level.
Right.
And then it has you get the bombs, and then it has you go back to the Brinstar area, grab the gravity suit, and then go back to the Meridiate level. And that's like all you do. Like nothing really happens.
Yeah, I do like the progression here with kind of how you don't have a map, and I actually do like the fact that you don't have a map here. Like I know you consider adding one, but personally I like it without the map. So that's my preference, but I think it works out pretty well. Because you kind of have to keep track mentally of what you've done and where you are. Oh, I don't have your bombs here.
Oh my god, I just realized when you go into a morph ball, the bird stays on you.
Oh, it does. That's cute.
That's amazing. That is my favorite thing.
Yeah, having the hats is a very DT3 sort of thing. Like, just the immense amount of options in the main menu always kind of makes me laugh. Hats, Unreal Guy, all that.
Unreal Guy came in like a day before release too. He wasn't in for the most of the game at all, now, and then the tester was like, "He needs to be in," and I said, "Well, I guess."
If I remember, he was on by default in DT1, right?
Yes.
Right. So now it's just an exercise in seeing if I remember where to go.
I actually really felt that the Metroid Gate was extremely intuitive in terms of where you need to go with your progression. And even if you don't know exactly, like there's that little terminal outside of each thing that tells you exactly like where your next point is.
Yeah, a lot of people actually didn't notice that apparently.
How?
I don't know. I guess they didn't like. I guess they're blind. Is all I can assume.
Was it LP? It probably was LP.
It was. He'll admit that he's blind. Don't worry. Oh, sick dodge over that gamer.
I love how you game overed yourself on the menu right next to the checkpoint.
Yeah, that was not one of my smarter moments. But hey, I still have the charge beam, so it's all good.
Yeah, definitely.
Oh, and one other thing, the room where you have to grapple on the rippers, I think all of us got the heart piece wrong, in the wrong way there.
Yep.
which is totally fine. I knew Jerry's sword would be a thing. And the grappling to the Rippers is just a Super Metroid reference. That's all that is.
My favorite thing in the Metroid is actually in the Metroid Nightmare Gate with the "you spin me right round" either. It's
I believe that's like a recreation of an actual glitch from Metroid, isn't it?
Yeah, if you destroy a platform that they're standing on, they just go in circles.
Okay.
That came about because when I was lining, that guy was originally a bug, because I would line them all up along the ceiling. Well, the one that spawned on the corner didn't know what to do when he first spawned. It was just a bug in the code, and like they're never spawned on corners ever, just that one. So I just left him in and just renamed him.
I do like the few renamed mobs. They get it's like little stuff like that is gives a lot of personality, like McButtface.
Buttface McGee. That's his name.
Buttface McGee, yeah.
And I believe we go back to let's call it the Central Hub Criteria or whatever now.
Yes. So that was not the original Buttface McGee. The original Buttface McGee is no longer in the game.
Oh yeah?
Yeah, the one in the warship is not him. So there, you know the weapon facility when you're going underground in the right after you fight the brain machine?
Right, yeah. With all the
So there's a section during the laser part. I can actually just screenshot the area.
Be right back.
There used to be... Let's see here. I guess before that. Oh my god, how many maps are there in the weapon facility? Jesus, this place is huge.
Live feed of Zephyr realizing his game is pretty long.
I have no idea where this map is. Oh, here it is. So I don't know if you'll be able to tell what this is from just in the editor, but I'll show you this one spot. So I don't know if you recognize that spot, but instead of the guy grappling from the ceiling, there used to be a shield dude there, and he was super hard to deal with, and that, like, super hard.
So I got back just in time to hear that, and that sounds pretty amazing. Sorry about that. Just
Yeah.
go AFK for a sec. I think whenever I have to take a break from now on, I'm gonna put it on the random number screen, so you can look at some nice random numbers. Because for some reason that's in the menu.
By the way, I do like how that kill room on the warship with Buttface McGee actually has a name, because we didn't want, because it would have been sad to have such an infamous encounter just be known as that one kill room, but we just call it Anger.
Yes.
Yeah.
And we noticed that Anger made a little cameo in the true end after the warship crashes.
Wanted to try to point home that is the warship in pieces.
Yeah. And we also appreciated the War Master's little jab about using Claire. Because my first time doing War Master, I definitely used just Claire.
Yeah, I think almost everyone did.
But after you get used to them, it's a lot. I'm not sure I would say safer, but it's a lot more fun to use Jerry as well.
Right. Frozen, you're not even human then, if that's the case. Like, get out of here. Like, what are you even talking about?
Yeah.
Oh, I found the anger room, the easiest screen. What? You're not even real.
Oh. The speaking of the hard warship screens, the room right before the boss split between Hex and Zephyr, we need to have a thorough talk about that room.
You talking about the laser grid room?
I'm talking about the laser grid room.
Yeah, I love laser grid. No one will ever get me to change that room from what it is. I love laser grid.
Oh, one thing about the laser grid room, you can get the item in that by just like walking in from the other side, and it's not shut off from you in any way. Is that like an intentional skip? I have to imagine it is.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, definitely is. But like, I've never seen anyone on stream do it that way.
That's how I got it.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I was basically like, oh my god, fuck this, and I went on and off the screen, and hey, it was right there for me. So
I was stuck there for like more than an hour on that one screen. It was just it was a miserable experience.
the very first time, one of the initial passes to the testers, and I think actually the initial release of the game too. What is it? Oh, Rocketeer. That Rocketeer had a healer assisting him as well.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Why though?
So, one thing I was wondering, does that Rocketeer infinitely respawn or not?
Wait, does he? I don't think he does anymore. I think he only appears the first time.
Okay. I mean, like, when you're actually doing the room, can you kill him and will he come back?
Oh, no, that's it. No, he does not.
Okay.
Yeah, no, because he's based on the progress in the room, and that progress just doesn't.
That's how it works. Okay. And it occurs to me we didn't explain the main mechanic of the Metroid gate that's different from the rest of the game. It's that you have distinct checkpoints instead of just by screen. So as you can see, I horribly died there. I got sent way back.
Oh man, you just spoiled it for me and Wafu there. Oh, now we knew you died 7 seconds prior to when you did.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
We're so distraught.
The checkpoint is it's a pretty interesting implementation, kind of like actually having saves and stuff like that, because it lets you kind of have like, I don't know, a nice sense of completion getting through like hard stuff, like Lower Norfair.
I mean, it's pretty much how it works
Yeah.
in I Want to Be the Guy, or for something
Yeah.
closer to this game in particular, I guess Battle Kid would be a good comparison as well.
Yeah, this is essentially how like every other Metroidvania works as far as checkpoint systems. Did you guys play Hollow Knight?
Yeah.
I did.
Yeah, Hollow Knight works like that as well. Yeah. I haven't actually played through that game yet, but that game looks amazing.
It looks amazing, but sometimes it's to the detriment of the gameplay, I find. Graphically, there's like a lot of poorly communicated interactions in the game. So I hope I
Fair
can,
enough.
hope I can like beat this. Oh right, he's got the easiest pattern in the world, so that shouldn't be too much.
Yeah, one of like the cardinal like sins of Metroidvanias is like is for the player to like have that thought of, can I actually jump on this or not? And then you do, and then you just fall and die. That is everywhere in Hollow Knight, where basically you don't know if you can jump on something.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, there's a lot of background like information that doesn't feel right, basically.
Okay, yeah, I have seen that a bit. I was wondering how much that got in the way of gameplay.
It gets in the way quite a bit if you're like me, and it's something you actually notice. I think, like, not to be elitist, where like the average person would probably not have that much of a problem with it. But as someone, I'm personally used to playing a lot of I Want to Be the Guy fan games, which are very precise about their graphics and all that. So it kind of got on my nerves. That's one thing I think.
That's fair enough.
That's one thing I think DT3 actually does very well, since it just takes styles from actual retro games and all that. So there's pretty much never anything visually unclear in this game. And I got the dash back, and if you didn't see the text, basically we cannot dash through enemies in this gate. I guess that's just because Zephyr thought it'd be imbalanced to be able to do so.
Yeah, it would be incredibly easy. I thought about how like the gate worked, and I thought, no, I don't want
Like,
that.
Yeah, it just like it doesn't really make sense with how like it's just Metroid is supposed to like play out really,
Yeah.
because like
Yeah.
the enemies like don't feel like apart from a couple of them like the jumpers for example, like enemies don't really feel like combat obstacles. They're in like pure interference and like chip, and if you could just dash through them, it's kind of like just
Yeah.
I don't know, it's
Yeah. There's never even been a version with that a thing on this. Like it was just initially like this can't be a thing because
Right.
these enemies are not combat enemies really.
Right. They work exactly like enemies in Metroid itself would.
Right.
And he's kind of got a clever way of gating this off. Just some spikes block your path.
Just yeah.
I think there's another screen that mentions the obvious gating on the screen message.
look at that.
Yeah, there is. Yeah,
He's-
it's kind of obtuse, but I don't know if that's the proper word.
Anyone-
It's
yeah.
3 a.m., 5 a.m.
Anyone see that? Dude, look at that guy just rocking out on the roof. He's just he's just listening to some sick metal.
So, what I was trying to do right after we talked about how you can't dash through enemies, I was trying to dash through enemies, and it didn't work out.
Yeah, it's going to be the worst thing for like a new player. Like they're always, unless you're Kefit, in which case you forget you have the dash all the time, and then so you don't worry about it.
That Meridia moment was amazing.
Apparently,
It was.
apparently Kevin tried to beat Bit and Byte without dashing through them, which, sounds pretty fun.
I meant to say this. This is gonna be the first thing I was gonna say on stream, but Kefit is a true. Yep, it's 5 a.m. That's for sure. It's like turning off. He's a true scrub lord because he likes to save scum. He's like, oh, that didn't happen. He just like
Oh, yeah.
goes back to. So I'm like, wait, how many deaths did you have though?
Yeah.
You have like 500 deaths, and I'm like, that's a lie. You have 1,500.
Yeah, when I was watching his streams, every time I tell him, come on, accept your deaths like a man. He's like, no, I'm trying to Achilles it. It's like, man, if you want to play it on Achilles, play it on Achilles. Kefir was actually kind of worried that he kind of upset you by nitpicking the game at parts in his stream, and is that like a thing for you at this point? I imagine you've seen enough criticism of the games for it not to really bother you or anything, but Kevin was wondering.
Yeah, I mean that's fine. I
Okay.
always tell people like criticize away. It's there's a lot wrong with the game, and it's totally fine to voice things about that.
Okay, here's the next checkpoint.
Don't worry, nobody could have a worse death count than me at this point. I have the most warped death count ever created.
Right, I think
The,
down here is Lower Norfair. I'm gonna show off the lava death. That's, almost at 1,000 deaths, in fact.
Dude, the gamers just like having seizures, like when they go over corners, it never ceases to amuse me.
They're silly. Those gamers. This is your chance. Oh, he missed it.
Almost got it.
So if you're in Morph Ball when they jump,
Yeah.
they jump super low. Yeah. Which offsets their 1-2.
I actually didn't realize that. You don't really actually fight them all that often, and by the time you do, you have missiles
Yeah.
anyway. So, of course, in this run, we're only gonna have 10 missiles. It's gonna be great for certain green friend later on.
You'll be fine. You'll be totally fine.
Speaking of, I think like the reason that one of the big reasons why people like favor Claire so much is because the gravity well, to put it nicely, sucks donkey dick on green form.
Yes, it does. He just moves a ton.
So like, it's just like it's just a kind of a natural inclination to like stick with the special option that like kind of feels like you have to use, really.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, that's one thing I mentioned on Discord earlier. But basically, green is the one part of War Master where I'd say there's clearly one character who's better than the other. Let's say.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And
it's actually kind of funny because that's a different dynamic with Wex, because Wex, his green is vulnerable to shot for the entire first half of his HP. So actually, Jerry's just way better.
Clearly better.
The gravity whale, I'm kind of ambiguous on as a weapon in general. Like it has its uses for DPS spam, but it feels more like a puzzle-solving tool than a weapon in a lot of places for me. And we could get a missile expansion here if it weren't cheese, so we're not.
Have fun with your 10 missiles.
Yeah, 10 missiles. This is all you'll have.
Luckily, the regen thing scales based on the amount that you like, based on your the percentage that you've lost.
That's interesting. I didn't realize that in the actual game. Well, actual game.
Yeah, you won't see it. It's a safety net for people with low amounts of this stuff or low amounts of ammo.
So I just like how Metroid in general has like I walked out of the first Metroid gate with like I don't even think half the upgrades when I first did the game because let me tell you, I haven't played enough Metroid in my life, so the clues for finding the secrets were extremely ambiguous to me, and like watching Kefit do it, it all makes sense and it's pretty perfectly logical on where things are hidden.
For example, on this screen, I figured there wouldn't be just, a blank screen full of nothing, and there's a pretty well choreographed tile pattern there, so you just have to kind of pay attention to the little details in the tile sets. Or you can just come back here with the item finder and, find everything easily.
Yeah, it's about not having a pixel hunt, is really what it comes down to, and Super Metroid has that, unfortunately.
Yeah, that's actually one thing I feel doesn't get enough criticism in Super Metroid. There's an insane amount of just missile packs everywhere in that game, and like past a certain point you have no need for them, but they're just like, they're hidden in all these random arbitrary tiles. Like, it's something that kind of bothers me on replays nowadays, because I know I'm not going to bother getting 100%, because, like, why would I?
For sure. Show another fun hitbox here. This is the most important hitbox of all of them.
I'm not looking at chat because I have full screen. What is this hitbox exactly?
Don't worry, I'll let you know in just a sec.
Okay.
Attention. It's exciting. Getting the inside scoop.
There you go.
I see. It's the hitbox for cheese. What happens when you when you can collect cheese?
Yeah, like I noticed, like sometimes the cheese sticks through the walls because I guess it's supposed to only occupy one tile, but it occupies slightly more than it should.
Yeah, it's just this giant thing.
But it's not.
It's a really small square in the middle of the sprite.
It's not something I would actually like change because it's kind of funny. And there's the crazy gamer. Hey, look, what we were just talking about. Here's a bit of cheese sticking out of the wall.
Yep, there it is.
Yeah, this is the cocaine gamer. He's just he's having a grand old time.
Yeah, he is.
He's just rocking, dude. I love little stuff like that because it just makes me laugh. It just continuously gets me.
So, see this sign here? You really want to like listen to what this sign says because you will die if you go down there without the gravity suit. So don't do what I did and disregard the sign.
I disregarded the sign.
Maintenance puts down really important safety instructions.
And one thing,
best sign
one thing I remembered I wanted to ask, like I saw like there's just like a gamer cycle on that last screen. Did you actually like make sure that you could get through every screen on the first cycle if you went fast enough? Because it feels to me like you did.
On only some of them.
Some of them.
I didn't check all of them. I think some of them were just purely a random chance.
Well, it felt like it to me, so that's all that matters. And now we finally got the Spazer, and it does a pathetic amount of damage, and it's never gonna do any more. Actually does 30. I guess that's the same as the Uncharged X-Buster, in fact. And I kept trying to make that jump without using the dash my first time through. I always forgot that the dash kind of served as a I called it a horizontal jump in the last stream, and that's pretty much what it is in a lot of places for the purpose.
But did it take you like 10 minutes, and did you fail like 20 times?
No, I don't think
Yeah,
so.
that's the Kepit jump, by the way. That we're
Yeah.
talking about. Like,
He took so long to do that. It
Yeah,
was amazing.
So now
he just went completely alien that he could, dash. Whoa,
we got power bomb.
that's cool.
It's that radius is bigger than you think too.
So this is going to be very useful against the Wind Orb from War Master Green.
So that is the most like, I'm sorry, Zephyr, but that's the most like MS Paint like special effect I've ever seen for
Yeah.
the special.
I went back and looked at Super Metroid. I was like, how does theirs look? I'm like, it's just this yellow thing.
Yeah.
Theirs is not as opaque as mine.
Yeah, in his defense, that's pretty much exactly how it looks in Super Metroid.
Yep.
That's pretty cool.
Hey, get the spring ball on your way back.
Yeah, I'm done.
So you can get some spring ball action in there.
I'm actually kind of excited
Just
to
gonna-
see how some of the Morph Ball platforming sections play with the Spring Ball. And I keep talking to the shops, even though I'm never going to be able to buy anything from them. I'm just kind of upset about that still, I guess. Let's get the save room cheese, because I just kind of like the way you did that. I believe there is one save room infusion that actually contains a secret passage to somewhere else. I think it's like the one in the water section leading to that boss. Okay, so load these up. And I was kind of expecting like some sort of huge morph ball maze here, but it's really easy to get to it.
Yeah,
And
it's a nothing.
is there a reason you use the speed booster icon, by the way?
For fun.
Okay,
Just so I can have some dumb message in there.
works for me. Oh, that's the wrong way. So that's kind of the golden statue room of this game, I guess. Got to kill the 3 bosses.
Yeah.
And
Actually, the canon reason for that being the speed booster icon is I accidentally left at the speed booster icon, and then when I went to go, make sure everything worked, I was like, that's the speed booster icon.
it's okay, it adds flavor.
So yeah, it just became that.
So one thing that came up when in Kefit's LP is that there's a boss named Arachnus, and he is like decidedly not a spider of any sort, but his name is just kind of Arachnus. And at first we were wondering like if Zephyr got the name wrong or something, but no, his name is indeed Arachnus in Metroid.
Yep. It is. It's really weird. I don't think that might be a translation thing, or maybe they're not going for
I
spider.
actually looked it up, and in later Japanese versions of the game, they did change his name, but in the original version, which is the US release, it has always been Arachnus, so who knows. There might have been like some sort of, communication disconnect, like somebody accidentally labeled it the wrong thing in the files, and they didn't notice until too late. I mean, stranger things have happened.
Yeah.
It doesn't look anything like a spider.
It really doesn't. So I believe we are going to get a heart piece, like a full heart, after this gate, aren't we?
Yes. I watched Zero do this part right here with the pipes on Night Terror.
Oh,
It was amazing. It was a really special event.
yeah, the Metroid gate seems like it ramp up in difficulty quite a bit on Achilles. Oh, hey, I didn't see you there, Mr. Gamer. Thank you for hitting me.
I love that you got hit by that gamer.
That's stealth gamer. That was.
So, why does the charge phaser damage fluctuate like that? Like it's doing 17, 18, 19 instead of a fixed number. It's like
It goes, so it starts at a certain point. It starts at, I think, 75%, and then it scales down to 50 per
Oh,
hit. Like by 1.25 per hit.
I'm probably gonna die again, but it's okay. Yeah, I died.
That was some skillful use of the
Spring ball.
morph ball jump.
Yeah.
Or spring ball, right? It has a name. Oh my god.
The morph ball jump.
I got hit by the gamer again. I didn't even knew it was there.
Oh wow. That's amazing. Just wasn't enough. Dips. Gross. I'm never gonna say that again, I'm sorry. Dips. I said it again.
That's I don't want to hear that again. I haven't heard that like way of saying DPS since like my WoW days. That's
I remember hearing that when I played MMOs. That actually bothered me when people would say, "Oh, go play DPS," and I'm like, "What? Did you just say my character class is a damage per second? Is that what you just said to me?" I'm just kidding. I'm so upset at that. I'm like, "No, I'm a damage dealer. Do not call me a DPS. Call me a DD if you have to." I was so upset at that.
So I'm looking.
I blame WoW for that trash.
So I'm thinking for this side hopper room, I'm gonna actually conserve my missiles and kill one of them just manually with the spazer.
only 10 missiles. Man, like even at this point, you have like a lot more than that.
Oh yeah, you could go around and get quite a few at this point already.
When you go in there, maybe charge it to. Oh wait, you can't do that yet.
Yeah, you have to
That's
cheat.
right. I was like, oh, I'll do that. Whoops.
I didn't fall for it.
Yeah, that was pretty good.
Wow.
That was really good.
And that was a shame.
Yeah. So the thing about the side hoppers is their pattern is incredibly easy to dodge, but it's hard to keep track of all of the ones on screen at once, I guess. Ah. Tried going for the spam, didn't work. Can't say I was expecting to have difficulties with side hoppers, but Nightmare has been a learning experience, really.
This is the run. This is the run.
This is the run. I've always been a fan of like level 1 modes in general. I was really high on them in Kingdom Hearts 2 Final Mix too. Since in KHU Final Mix you don't get to use Reflect with it.
Yeah, don't they give you something to offset that as well though?
Yeah, there's like a straight up like damage booster, I think, or something like that.
So I'm trying to do the classic Metroid farming, and it's not working too well.
Yeah, their drop rate of items is super low.
That would. Okay, so we're going in here with no health, but we'll make it work. We didn't make it work. So I think the tube area is actually a lot easier with Spring Ball. I think Zero's Night Terror playthrough was before the Spring Ball was added.
Yeah, he got through most of the gate without Spring Ball.
Yeah, it hasn't updated that in a while, I saw.
Probably because it's kind of ridiculous.
Yeah, we've been busy with a lot of other things. Like the update kind of took priority there for him. You can deal damage to those with the morph bombs.
Oh, okay.
Oh, that would actually be pretty good.
Actually, you could even start that off with the spam move before you even begin the fight.
Yeah, I could. Oh shit, okay. Might try the power bombs on those guys to see how it goes. And I noticed that the spawning for them is kind of weird. Like, I didn't get the same speed of spawns that time as last.
The first two, the next three don't spawn until you destroy the first two. So you can take as long as you want on that first. You can destroy one with missiles and then take as long as you want there. Blech.
So yeah, that section's pretty easy if you have the spring ball. Too bad Zero didn't. Oh god, I forgot that they react differently if you're in Morph Ball.
Oh, that was a beatdown.
Yeah.
Oh man.
I was like, wait, why are they jumping towards me?
Well, you can take upsides, and at least you don't get hit by the Gamer anymore.
Oh yeah, I learned that Gamer real well.
Yeah, that's pretty true, Quaff. The damage isn't very good for what it is.
Oh, we have finally crossed the 1,000 death mark.
Oh, we did. I didn't notice.
Oh, we did. That was a very unceremonious event there.
On side hoppers.
Okay, so we should be able to kill this guy, I hope. Okay.
That looked so much easier.
Okay, so now we go back to Meridia, I think. I'm not gonna fall for the Gamer this time. Not this time.
Oh no.
Of course I could.
I wanted you to.
Of course I could just kill myself and get back faster, but well, whatever. I ended up doing that anyway. It turns out. So.
That was awesome.
Nice. You know, speedrunning this gate would have really interesting things because you could do things where you have a checkpoint across the map.
Yeah, death warps basically.
And then you die and then go, yeah.
Because the game retains all the switches and items you picked up after a death.
Yeah.
I believe we're gonna fight the first boss of Metroid Gate.
Oh man, the legend himself. Some say people are still stuck at him to this day.
People have had trouble with him?
No.
Oh, okay.
Never. Well, maybe. I don't know. I thought getting stuck on Helmet Head was impossible, but people have proved me wrong.
I'm still not sure what causes people to have so much trouble with Helmet Head.
Does Zephyr know that joke? Actually, so Zephyr, this is a thing that you might find amusing. So when I first started shilling this game to everybody, there was like a group of people, and then this group of people, you have all either spent 7 hours, or have dropped it at Helmet Head.
Yeah, like
Helmet Head of all things.
there seems to be some sort of like the cage Helmet Head puts you in. People don't seem to realize that you're not supposed to do full jumps, and they keep jumping into it over and over again. But even that doesn't really fully explain why you'd have such difficulties with, Helmet Head. You think they get...
It's this weird phenomena that, like, of Helmet Head, like, being this dramatic difficulty spike for several... And, like, at first I thought it was just one person that happened to it, but it's happened so much that, like, on several people, that, like, I'm convinced that there's something about Helmet Head that mind-games people.
I guess he's just... I mean, yeah, he is not...
None of it Zephyr knows?
I don't know. I mean, he's not easy for first timers anyway. Skillful play there, Moogie.
Yeah.
I don't need oxygen.
Yeah, I forgot there were oxygen bubbles in this place, and I was kind of like, wait, what do I do?
I was wondering what was going on.
I think you should have added the sonic drowning sound effect, by the way. Though,
That's fair.
On Nightmare mode, it happens so often it probably get old. Maybe have an option to turn it on and off.
Yeah, most things like that, the game tends to do that. Oh man, the power bomb in here makes it super easy, I bet.
Yeah, it does. These guys are actually really hard to kill effectively without the power bombs, so power bomb's a nice addition.
Killing spree.
I've gotten pretty good at baiting things into morph ball bombs after, you know, fighting the wind orb for so long. Yeah, fighting the wind orb itself. Not even more.
Everyone is so much better at that than I am.
It took us for.
So-
It actually took us a long time to even figure out it was possible.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. That's a thing that, like, the only thing I could think of that ever tells you that's even possible is like scanning Army Eye or something, I think. Or it's scanning a boss that tells you that you can even do like.
Yeah, there's like 2 or 3 bosses that actually mention that. But yeah, but it's only through scanning that the game lets you know.
Oh, you can open the door with the power bomb during the fight. It's kind of funny.
So there's one like goofy thing I found with this boss. You don't have to move at all. You can stand in the middle and the spikes don't hit you.
Oh yeah? Huh.
Yeah.
Yeah, basically.
He's this guy's just kind of a loser. he's just kind of a dork.
Yeah, this is about the only time you have to move. Is when he comes from the bottom.
Also, I never like was good enough to like consistently shoot him on the sides with missiles. Like to, you know, he has that little crack underneath him that you can.
Yeah, I
bonus
don't think
damage on.
anyone is. Yeah, and like if Frozen comes in here and says that he is, again, we know he's not human already. So.
So yeah, you can. Oh, I got the 2-hour message. What prompted you to include the 2-hour message? If anything did indeed prompt you to include the 2-hour message.
I forget what game I was playing at the time, but I was, or whenever that was added, I was playing some game and it had like the don't play for long periods of time, and I was like, oh yeah, thanks game for reminding me. And then I just thought, I'm gonna add a 2-hour warning message.
I actually find it useful when streaming because it kind of lets me know how long I've been going at it. So I guess it had some use.
It's just like the 2-hour message doesn't even tell you to stop and worry about your health, or it does it first, and then it just says, "Oh, I mean, you seem to like it, so go ahead, do your thing." They're irresponsible as ever.
Oh,
Incredibly.
Speaking of the word incredible, the word incredible is kind of a meme among us now, thanks to the
Yeah.
master.
Oh yeah, the
that's-
line.
Somehow I got hit by
It's,
one of the spikes. That was bad.
We have like the obligatory screenshot of like War Master kneeling. This is a trend I started
Yeah.
it actually, by the way. But like the War Master kneeling and saying incredible, and like everybody who wins like has that victory screenshot up there.
Yeah.
Oh
Now-
wow.
So this guy is actually a lot easier if you just stand in place. So pretty good boss.
Yep. He's a dork. He's just a worm. Leave him alone. He's just a worm.
But,
He is just. I mean, he is what he is. He is a Metroid boss
Yeah.
fight.
It really is. I mean, this needs to be the, oh, you might have to jump.
yeah, I will.
This is the guy that should have been one of the super bosses.
I agree.
He needed to be super bossed up.
Oh, so I'm curious. Did you ever consider like using by the way, when I first saw the music files and I saw like Wex, I thought like War Master and Hex would merge and that was gonna be the super boss. Like I was so scared and excited. But did it ever consider like, was it always the plan to have like War Master Extreme to be the super boss, or was there like another sprite or character that you thought of at first?
He was never supposed to be a thing.
Oh, yeah, I think that.
Right.
Fair enough.
So you just planned to add the executive, and that was it, or what?
Yeah, like that was all it was going to be. It was just a little silly thing if you go and do the Abomination event early.
Right. How long did executive take to make? Because he's a pretty elaborate fight.
Yeah, that one took a I don't remember anymore. And there was a bit of testing involved with him to work out a lot of stuff, so I mean that was a couple weeks, so a few weeks.
Okay, so I think I'm not sure what.
By the way,
Yeah.
we just call executives fire. We just call them apples.
Oh yeah.
That's fair. They look like apples, so.
And the fight is very I want to be the guy esque
Yeah.
in nature, so it's just very fitting. Like I even thought that you did it on purpose with the fact that like the avoidance section actually just straight up has like diagonals in them,
Yeah.
and I was like, okay, it has to be intentional. Like
Yeah, it's not. That's pure coincidence there.
And I do like the overall concept for the executive fight, because one thing I know a couple of people complained about is that Jerry doesn't really do much with parrying in the main game, and boy does he do a lot with parrying in that fight.
It's almost a purely Jerry fight.
Well, I do like the last part of it in that regard, because it felt to me like you were actually fighting him with both Jerry and Claire in a way you don't really fight a lot of bosses. Like, you have Jerry making him weak, and then Claire going in for the kill. I thought that was kind of neat. So, I think I came down here just to kill that guy. Is that correct?
Looks like it. Yeah, that was a.
I believe so. Yeah.
Oh,
You
there's
don't have
that one.
You don't have the air dash yet,
Right,
so.
I can't go to the...
Double kill.
And there's also what is it? See, obviously you can't do this on a run, but if you go and do the Abomination thing before you finish Gate H,
Yeah.
almost spoil.
Spree.
Oh, you actually said something unique to happen, huh?
Yeah, it was going to be before you get Gate 6 abilities, and then it's just before you finish the instrument quest.
Okay, I'll have
So
to try
there's
that
two-
out.
You can if you finish Gate 5 here.
Okay.
So I'm curious if you go to executive, like, you know, when you're or you know you do the whole abomination trick, like I don't, like, you know, normally like in chapter like 19 or 20 depending, like does it just take you to executive as normal, like
Yeah.
you would in the boss gallery? Okay.
And it does open up Wex, so you can totally have Wex open before you get to War Master proper.
I feel like there's gonna be like one person in like 100 years that would ever do that, and he's gonna blow that guy's mind.
Yeah, he's gonna do it by accident
Yeah.
or something weird. And like they said, it only works in phase 1. Although if when you do, yeah, it only works in phase 1. When you do the actual chapter 21 variant of it, you can't even damage the other pieces.
Oh, I actually wonder what would happen if you tried to fight it in 21. I guess you just can't.
Yeah.
Oh no,
Yeah, you
I tried.
Yeah.
So now
And if you could have, the thing was going to be, it was just going to game over you if you get to the last phase. Jeremy was just going to game over and be like, what are you doing? I just told you not to do that.
That's pretty good. That's pretty good.
that might actually be fun to keep in. I would have liked sort of Easter egg like that.
Double kill.
Alright. Oh,
It's actually funny that you go do the you can go try and do the original ending, and like you just get locked out, and Jeremy just tells you, guys, you don't know.
yeah.
Yeah, we already know.
The controversial, to say the least, original ending.
Right.
So is what you said in the optional boss really true, that you just made the ending bad on this to see if people would still like the game, or what?
I mean, that was like one of the thoughts. I mean, that wasn't like the full thing. The game was, I mean, the story was seemed to be heading that way when I was writing it,
Right.
and I just kind of fully embraced it. But there was also the thought of, I can change this, of course. And I thought, well, so that was like a minor thought. It wasn't like the reason, but it was a thing.
Yeah, I think, honestly, I wouldn't really have that many problems with the original ending if only Jeremy had died. Like, I think going and killing off Claire and Jerry too was kind of overdoing it. Like, from a story perspective, I can see Jeremy, like, you know, his guilt getting the best of him and all that. Like, it makes sense for his characterization, but then Jerry and Claire are just kind of along for the ride at that point, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So I need to find a checkpoint somewhere. I know where they were.
Like, I've been sort of like hesitant because you for as much grief as I like will give the story of DT3 for like, you know, various things, what's it and what's that it clearly has a lot of heart in it. So it's like I appreciate the effort at the very least above everything else.
Yeah.
I mean, that's fair.
I'm still not entirely sure what to think about, you know, Claire's little Nightmare Gate escapade with her mom and all, but I have to say it's not something I've seen in any other game, that's for sure.
Yeah, that's a weird segment, not executed super well. I've contemplated that after somebody completes it, it just gives you a code to skip it if you ever want to do a replay. Like when you get to, like, you just go to the map where it would start, and you put the code, you just put a code in, and it just skips you to already having the instrument.
I kind of like the concept for it, but I do feel you could have taken the gameplay further. Like the part where you jump over her mom, that's pretty cool, and it's just pretty much the last you do anything in there.
Yeah, it's the very end.
I do actually like the general atmosphere that is presented in that whole thing. In general, I actually think that you do a pretty good job at any mood that you actually set out to set when it's any different from the gameplay-esque feeling that you have normally.
Right.
But yeah, the context of what it is aside, like it's I actually like, you know, the thing that you mentioned in the warship scans, for example, that the warship feels very, very imposing because the majority of the enemies are parts of the ship. Like, that is a very good, like, ludonarrative kind of thing that I really like seeing in games.
And the little survival horror bit in, what is it, Neo Grime City, I think that was done pretty well as well. Even if, you know, the sprites themselves are, you know, goofy aliens, the atmosphere works pretty well.
Yeah, that one's very love and hate there with amongst a lot of people. They either like it or they just like absolutely hate it. There's a piece of cheese sticking out of the wall.
Like, if it had gone on for a really long time, maybe I could have got annoyed, but it didn't last too long, and it's generally like it doesn't, like, you know, it doesn't do anything improper. It's just that one time, like, the predator, like the alien, like fell through one of the cracks in the roof, and I was just like, what?
And one thing you have to realize is that you kind of have to use Claire for the increased walk speed in that room. It makes it a lot easier.
It does. Yeah, it does. It helps a lot.
But I actually did especially like the segment after where you have to kind of like fight and do stuff like without your HUD and shit. I thought that was like really like scary in like an information starved sense, and kind of like this big unknown over your head. It was cool.
Yeah, one of the things, like, I'm sure everybody agrees that the shoot 'em up is the worst part of the game, but I appreciate that it was, you know, included at all, because I like it when games are not, like, really, they don't feel constricted to just one style at all times, because one of the things that kind of defines actual retro games for me is that they weren't afraid to, you know, just have a random shoot 'em up stage or whatever. Like, a lot of...
They did not.
A lot of older games really did kind of push the boundaries with regards to genre in a way I feel like people trying to imitate them don't actually get. And that's one thing that DT3 does get, so I did appreciate that a lot. And if I do say so myself, other than the bubble bobble tower defense. I think the tower defense is actually really fun. You did a good job with that.
That works. I'd like to see someone else do sort of like a platforming tower defense style thing. I wonder if how viable that really is in just purely tower defense format.
Yeah, like I thought, like the reason I like it here is because I feel you worked it well into the context of DT3. But like, if it were an entire game, I don't know. That would be something to think about, I guess.
It would need to be more refined than what it is.
Yeah.
It's pretty simplistic in DT3.
Yeah. Like, I ended up beating the bubble stage with 20 megas and nothing else.
That's awesome.
I
love that Raocow just kind of like,
yeah.
he just goes, I'm just going to try all megas, and then it worked for him.
It worked for me too.
It's pretty great. The
Raocow method.
Yeah.
The Raocow. I mean, it worked, so.
That it was a long save to go back to.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure there's a faster way to get to the beginning though.
There is in the. Do you want to know one of the methods?
Yeah, go ahead.
In the room with the tunnel, go through the tunnel, and then right after that tunnel, you'll see a thing you can shoot upward. You can just get up around.
Oh, I remember that. I think, yeah. Can you imagine how much cheese the RPG gate's gonna have?
It's a lot of cheese.
It's a lot of cheese. I can't wait to see what kind of cheese it is myself.
Right, I forgot about this. Thank you for reminding me, Zephyr. So, you do gain experience in the RPG area, right?
Yes, you do.
Because I figured it'd just be, impossible
It's a
otherwise.
bomb thing.
I figured it would just be, impossible otherwise, because you would do like 1 damage to Sephiroth.
Yeah, the scaling would be really, really strange there. I thought about making it so the level cap was lower than 64, like 48.
Oh, yeah.
Nah, I still don't want that.
Just, you level up and you get another piece of cheese in your inventory.
When the bug that allowed me to fight the executive on this save file was still in, I went and tried to fight him with level 1, and you do... Jerry's default shot does 7 damage to him at level 1, so that would have been a cool fight to try and, beat legitimately.
That would be insanity.
So...
It'd take like an hour.
Yep. That bug's actually still present in this version. I have it fixed on my end. I have not released a thing yet.
Do you know
like in 07, it's...
do you know if there are any other ill effects to it? Because when I tested, I just got the air dash early, and I assumed it might have set some other game flags wrong, but I can't obviously check the code myself.
I don't think so, no. And like Executive being beaten is his own flag, and it was a weird one-off thing.
Right, because you don't actually save the game after beating Executive. It puts you back to the title screen.
Yeah, it just inserts a thing into your save file when you do that. And so what happens is like the game never actually saves that flag, like when you normally hit save, and when you hit a new game with your thing, it didn't actually reset that flag.
Right.
Like in the file.
Oh, and here's the little message complaining about the various its name.
Double kill. Multi-kill.
Oh yeah.
If people weren't aware, apparently the Varia suit is a transliteration of barrier or something. I think that was the explanation.
Yes.
Yeah.
Kill.
Yeah, I could see that actually. But
Multi-kill.
it's very silly.
Yeah.
But
I wonder if you can get this cheese with the spring ball now. Yes, it looks like you can. Yeah. So.
Yeah, you should be able to.
Sequence breaking? Not really, but Oh, that's one thing I wanted to ask. Are you aware of like any actual sequence breaks in this game? That if you've patched them out or if they were ever there or whatever.
Not that I've seen. Since most of the game is blocked by story progress, and those gates are just, you're just gated through progress, really.
Yeah, that's what I figured.
It's not, it's yeah, like the actual progress in the game is not very organic.
I figured like the only way to actually sequence break would be like to cause like a wrong warp to the end or something, and that would be a pretty boring speed run anyway. So Kevin was playing around, I know, with the zombie glitch he found, but that just allows you to like fall infinitely, and that doesn't really help with anything.
Yeah, that was just a problem when the camera would return and unpause the game.
Oh no.
One sec, guys.
Oh, no.
I gotta go do something. I'll put it on the random number screen real quick. I'll be back in a couple minutes.
Oh no. Real people. Escape while you can.
The best thing that's gonna happen here, though, is that Kefet's gonna, or not Kefet, I'm sorry, I just completely insulted Mugi like that. So Mugi's gonna come back, and he's gonna forget where he is. He's right there next to the Adam. He's gonna fall.
Yeah, you
What are the
might.
odds here? This would be like a take a shot, even though I don't drink, but this would be a take a shot if he does fall.
There's a good chance he falls. I don't know. I want to say he won't fall, but at the same time, my gut tells me he will.
Yeah, I want him to fall. It'd be way funnier.
I think he'll. I believe in the movie. I believe he'll pull through.
Yeah, I don't think he will, actually, but highly desire this.
He's right there. It's right there. The upgrade is in sight.
It's not even obscured by the pause screen. So the Chow fight had an interesting thing. So it was gonna be about breaking the game a little more,
Oh.
but like no one liked it. So like Slakes was the only one, and he has a shitty mouse. Wait. Are we allowed to swear in this stream? Forgot, because you guys haven't sworn at all.
I just swore tons. Don't worry.
Oh, okay, maybe I just haven't caught it or something. But yeah, Slicks was the only one who liked it, and like no one else liked it. So when he makes the flames go away when the big laser appears, have you noticed how the flames disappear on both sides?
Yeah, I think so.
So originally you were supposed to mouse off the screen and like come back around to dodge that laser, because the laser originally came all the way down, but like nobody liked it, and there were some other like game breaky things in there. It's gonna be all about just tricking it, but like, and I was like, yeah, I mean that's fair. And it used to be a little harder too, but then it wasn't supposed. That's what I tried first. You can still do it. That's why the flame is still there. The flames at the top disappear.
Oh, that's so good though.
There's some other strange things you could do.
At the same time, I can imagine a reason why people wouldn't like it, just because it's like it really is just kind of tricking the game in a way.
Yeah.
But at the same time, that sounds hilarious.
Yeah, I mean, even getting there getting to that point is somewhat doing some weird things with the game.
Yeah, exactly.
And originally, so Slakes was the only one, like back in the day when we were writing this out, he was the only one who actually knew about like the chapter 21 thing, and we went through a couple like ideas there. We thought about making an ARG out of it. I don't know if you guys are familiar with alternate reality games. It's where you have to figure something out outside of the game in order to progress in the game. I decided against that. I thought that would have been cool. It would have, in some ways, fit DT for what it is, in incorporating another element of games that we enjoy. But I thought ultimately, no, that would be bad.
I really like the man that fucking, oh my god, the scale of your mind is too much. Like in a game that's so like focused around like in-game gameplay, I'm not sure if it would truly be like really fitting, because it's just like it's very, I don't know, it's like genre fitting to the point where you're literally crossing dimensions, and like you're interacting with you're not interacting with anything within the engine anymore. You're interacting with something like outside of it. So it's like I kind of, at the same time, like Oh, he didn't fall, by the way. I
He
went.
didn't. He didn't fall.
So, we're having roofers over to reshingle our roof in a bit, and it's gonna be very loud. So I think it's time to stop for the night. Unfortunately, I say night, but it's 6:15 a.m. So
It is.
we just got the various suits. So I think we're gonna back to the title screen. Anything you guys want to say before we cut it off?
No, I'm good. I'm sleeping right now after this, so
Oh,
just in time.
it ends with the Wafu phone. Thank you.
Nice.
And thank you for
No, I'm good.
Thank you for appearing, Zephyr. Whenever if you're around, whenever we're doing this, just feel free to ask us, and you can come in because it's been great having you for commentary. You know, asking you about the inner workings and all that. So yeah, thank you.
Yeah, if you guys want me on anytime, I'm fine with that. As long if I'm around. Yeah, I'll be around this whole week. So.
Okay, cool. So next time, I think we're gonna finish up Metroid Nightmare Gate, and maybe advance the story a bit. We've got some overworld sections after that. So I'm cutting the stream off now. Thank you guys. Good night.